Hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever and wherever you are listening. And welcome back to another episode of Elaborations with SchellingtonGrin. I am Ava, your Gothic Witch Big Sis, and tonight we are stepping through the veil. It is thin, shimmering, and alive with so many memories. Halloween is finally here, or as our ancestors called it, Samhain. Spelled Samhain, it is pronounced Sow-in, and it is the final harvest of the year. It is the turning of the wheel and the sacred pause between the light and the dark. And while most of the world knows it now as costumes, candy, and carved pumpkins, there is a deeper heartbeat underneath that is ancient, reverent, and wildly alive. So, if you are seated, and you can and wish to take notes, grab that notebook or open up your notes app. And if you're listening while commuting or you are out there under this October sky, as always, remember to stay safe, obey all traffic and neighborhood laws, and just let these words wash over you like candlelight. Without further ado, let's dive right in. So let's start by remembering Samhain's origins. Before Halloween became this modern celebration of spooky fun, it was Samhain, one of the 4 great fire festivals of the Celtic year. It marks the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark half of the year, a time when people gather to honor ancestors, prepare for winter, and give thanks for all the blessings the land had provided throughout the rest of the year. It was said that during Samhain, the veil between the worlds was the thinnest, that spirits of loved ones could cross over, visiting hearth and home once more. Families would set places at the table for them, light candles in their honor, and tell stories that kept their memories alive. This wasn't a time about fear. It was a time for connection. It was about remembering that death is not an ending, but a transformation. And as a Scorpio, I can relate. And I think that that's something our modern world sometimes forgets. We fear endings and resist stillness. But Samhain teaches us that every ending carries a seed of rebirth. Think of the trees this time of year, letting go of their leaves with grace. They don't mourn what's falling away. Instead, they trust the cycle. They trust that spring will come again, and they will grow new leaves. Samhain invites us to do the same, to release and shed what no longer serves us, to grieve what needs grieving, and to mourn what needs to be mourned, and to trust that what is meant for us will return in divine timing. This is also considered the Witch's New Year. It is a time to look inward, to reflect on what we have harvested within ourselves over the past year. What lessons did we learn? What habits or patterns do we want to leave behind as we enter this new cycle? And what are we looking forward to invoking into our new cycle? And what dreams and intentions do we wish to plant in the soil of our spirit to bloom later? Because even in the dark, life is taking root. And the darkness isn't empty, it is sacred. It is the womb of becoming. Now let's talk about the playful side of the sacred. Because don't get me wrong, I love me a good costume, some lovely candy, and the playful chaos of Halloween, with all of its spooky movies, spooky music, spooky aesthetic, Halloween decor, home decor. Because even in its modern form, Halloween still carries pieces of that ancient magic. Trick-or-treating? It's not just about sugar highs. It's a ritual of exchange. One that reminds us that giving and receiving, laughter and generosity are forms of community magic. Every knock on a door is a moment of connection. Every shared smile beneath a mask or makeup is a whisper from our ancestors saying, to remember joy. Because joy, too, is sacred. It is easy to get lost in the seriousness of spiritual work and everyday life. But play and laughter are also portals to healing. Samhain reminds us that to honor death, we must honor life. To honor endings, we must celebrate beginnings. And sometimes that means dancing under the moon with sticky, caramel-coated fingers and a sugar rush. And for me personally, Samhain has always felt like a mirror. Every year it reflects back how much I have grown, what I have let go of, and what I am still learning to accept and adapt to. Sometimes that reflection is beautiful, and sometimes it's as uncomfortable as an itchy Halloween costume. You know, the one made with that scratchy material. But that is the work of transformation. It is not always tidy and Pinterest board aesthetic. It's real. And that is where the magic lives, in the honesty of our becoming. So this year, as we close out this one cycle and move into a new one, I am reflecting on what it means to rest, to truly rest, and to trust that stillness does not mean stagnation. That just like nature, I am allowed to slow down, to shed, to be quiet, and to prepare for what's next. And if you are listening to this, maybe that message is for you too. Maybe you've been moving, working, or pushing too hard, and Samhain is whispering, it's okay to exhale. So as we close out this episode, I want to invite you tonight, or whenever you have a moment this weekend, to light a candle and grab your journal to write down this question. By the way, you can light any candle. It can be a 3-wick vanilla-scented candle, or it can be that long, tapered, black candle in your Gothic aesthetic. I approve. But the question that I invite you to write down in your journal while you are reflecting is this. What am I ready to release? And what am I ready to trust will return? If you want to invoke a little bit more magic, you can even take that page out of your journal and place that note under a small dish of salt or by your window, symbolically offering it to the night. Or you can release it by speaking aloud what you wish to release and letting it go to your ancestors, your spirit guides, and to your higher self. And then after your reflection, eat some candy, because even the sacred deserves sweetness. And remember, joy and reverence can coexist. This has been another soul-soaked and enlightening episode of Elaborations with SchellingtonGrin. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, for walking through this liminal space with me, and remembering the deeper heartbeat beneath Halloween's glitter, glitz, glam, gore, and glow. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more conversations like this one. And as always, you can find all things SchellingtonGrin, including the links to my socials, tarot readings, and podcast updates right in the description box at link.tree/SchellingtonGrin. I'll see you all again later, and we will explore the deeper roots of other modern traditions and maybe unearth a little more magic together as we discuss Dia de Muertos this weekend. Until then, blessed Samhain, my friends. Bye!